right? And then we are discussing the reactive series and metal extraction questions too, right? And then we'll try to have a class on coming Wednesday, right? For a mock paper, right? We'll have like one C mock paper. We'll see how the regulations move on, right? I'll try to have the class physically as much as possible. Not at least online, we'll do the paper, right? Then Thursday, we'll have a prep. I mean, Friday after prep, I already did. Thursday, we'll have prep. All right, so here we go. Question number 7. Question. Choose two properties from the list that make iron suitable for metal for the these cooking utensils, right? So if you are using iron for that, the main reason it should be what it's high melting point, and also it should be conducting electricity. I think when you go common sense, उत्तर लिया कर दिया. I real है. वो attitude. Huh? Be sure. तो दातारन लिया ना लोग निकाल नहीं है बाला आगे ना. Right? So good conductor of heat, high melting point. Also, you can say malleable because so the cooking and the other nothing right? And choose two properties from the list that make aluminium a suitable metal for power cables, right? What's the reason for the power cables? Power cables we use the dark time because it should be like drawn into wires. That's what we call dark time. And obviously it should conduct electricity pretty well, right? So those are the two main properties. And steel is an alloy containing iron. You know, you have carbon, a little bit of carbon mix. These are three differences between steel and aluminium. Steel can rust, but aluminium doesn't. Steel has a higher density than aluminium. Steel is much stronger than aluminium. Use information from the list. Suggest why steel is better metal for making bridges. One, definitely stronger than aluminium, right? It's the main reason, right, that you use it for the bridges, right? It should be stronger. Using information, suggests why aluminium is better metal for making aircraft bodies. Number one, the density, right? Otherwise, if it is high dense, you know, it's very, very difficult to, you know, fly. And also it resists corrosion, right? Lower density resists corrosion. Sorry. Next. What is meant by the term exothermic? Right? Exothermic means heat energy is released. This release a lot of heat energy. This experiment releases a lot of heat energy. We didn't discuss करा होगा मत कहीं पहले. Lot of heat energy, right? So it releases heat energy. So what's the other, the opposite name of exothermic? Huh? Exothermic is opposite name. Endothermic. What do you mean by endothermic? Those reactions they take in. These are they release heat out, right? What does the reaction suggest about the reactivity of aluminium? You can see aluminium has clearly right? Displace ion, right? So therefore, what you have to write 2 marks then. This is a displacement reaction, right? So aluminium has displaced iron from the compound, therefore aluminium is more reactive. Aluminium is more reactive. Okay, which element is oxidized in this thermite reaction? Oxidize, right? What is oxidation? It's gain of oxygen, all of what? Loss of electrons. Make a value of Abdala pain. Aluminium has gained oxygen, right? So the aluminium has got oxidized. The reason it gains oxygen. Yes, the like to see it. They can do that. Oh, right. The reaction mixture is ignited and molten iron pours into the mold. The mold is removed and the molten iron solidified priors to join between two rails. Explain why iron produced in the reaction is molten. Very simple, you just learned, but the reaction is highly what? Exothermic. That means it because we have already written that. So you have to say, so the reaction mixture gets heated so that its temperature will be what? Higher than, very high higher than the melting point of iron. Iron melted. General උත්තර ලියන්න බෑ Edex එකේ. එයානේ ඇයි මෙතන iron molten. Well, you have to use your kinetic particle theory knowledge also, melting point story. ඒ මොකක් හරි එකක් molten වෙන්න නම් maintain temperature එක යාගේ melting point එකට වැඩි වෙන්න. මේ reaction mixer එකේ heat එක release වුණාම එන temperature එක යාගේ melting point එකට වැඩි. යාගේ මොකද iron. ඒතකොට තමයි යා melted. මේක කිසිම මේකක් නෑ තේරුණාද නැද්ද කියලා. හරිද? දැන් අපිට idea එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් ළමයට තේරුණාද නැද්ද කියන එක. Right? So the temperature reached is greater than the melting point of iron. It's a question, saying you have another question, right? This is a very good question. So this is an example that they can give from somewhere a random metal extraction process. Does it mean that we need to by heart all these things and go to the exam? No. But you should be able to identify these reactions carefully. So for example, the first one, titanium dioxide reacts with fluorine with carbon. Some kind of a reaction has happened over there. Right? Take a oxidation reduction, but you can figure out because carbon has gained oxygen. The carbon oxidized. What has been reduced is chlorine because chlorine is zero there and there chloride ion is produced. It's a little hard to understand. That's all right. right? But the second one is a very clear reaction. Magnesium has displaced titanium from its compound. Second reaction, right? Magnesium has displaced titanium from its compound. Therefore, magnesium is more reactive than titanium. Is that clear? Right? So, බලමු questions. මේ වගේ ටිකක් complicate උනාට information. Yeah, 100 questions under the syllabus. Therefore, we should be able to answer. For example, in stage 1, carbon oxidize or reduce. Remember the carbon? It has gained oxygen, right? Then gain of oxygen. Therefore, the oxidation has happened. Oxidized, gain of oxygen. Right. Next. Yeah. Okay. What does the reaction in stage 2 indicate about the reactivity of magnesium compared to reactivity of titanium? Very simple. I just explained. Magnesium is more reactive than titanium because magnesium has displaced titanium from its compounds. Okay. Suggest why distillation can be used to remove magnesium chloride from titanium. That's a good question. කාටවත් ඔගේ උත්තරේ ලියා ගන්න බෑ සමහර අය මේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට. දැන් distillation මොකටද කරන්නේ? Distillation, simple distillation and fractional distillation. Huh? Some separational techniques already correct. If you have two substances with different boiling points, you fix this distiller and adapter and the condenser. Distill කරන්නේ. We send water from this side and take water for cooling process and then collect the liquid. If you have A and B can be separated, but according to the boiling point. Right? This is called simple distillation. This is called simple distillation. Sometimes we put a fractionating tower for fractional distillation. Huh? Right? Crude oil is separated through fractional distillation, but salt water, something like salt water, because sodium chloride is ionic, so it has high boiling point. Water is covalent, so it has low boiling point. Again, the water තමයි මුලින් collected. So sea water, salt water or sea water, when you separate, you get water here. Sodium chloride remains here. The water has low boiling point, that's why collected. The suggest why distillation can be used to remove magnesium chloride from titanium. Both of them are high melting point things. One is ionic, the other one is metallic. But if they say they can use distillation, that means these two substances should have like significantly different boiling points. එක්කෙනෙක් අනිත් එක්කෙනාට වඩා boiling points වලින් වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Therefore you can separate, right? So ඒක තමයි answer. මතක නැත්නම් මේක පොඩ්ඩක් ලියන්න. මේකවත් පොඩ්ඩක් fill කරන්නට අත්දාලා ගන්න තියයි. කරලා ඊට පස්සේ I will give you around 5 to 10 minutes to go through both reactivity series and metal extraction. Right. Titanium has these properties. The aircraft engine, the reason why we use it has high strength to weight ratio. එතකොට මේ aircraft එකට use කරන්න පුළුවන්. And also corrosion resistant is also good. Replacement of hip joint. ඒකටත් ගන්න පුළුවන් මොකද්ද? High strength to weight ratio and non-toxic. නේ melting point කතාව නම් අදාළ නැහැ hip joint වලට. Titanium is highly used for what? This artificial hip joints and these kind of orthopedic operations. Propellers for boats definitely what corrosion resistant, right? හැම property එකක්ම ගොඩක් related, right? එතකොට මේකේ දැන් choose කරන්න ඕනේ හොඳ මේක. Like for particular use, what's the exact property? You can't use it twice here. So those are the type of questions that you get. Right? And then මම ඔයගලන්ට දෙනවා කොච්චරක් ඕනද time එක? 10 minutes? Ready? 5 minutes? 10 minutes බලා ගන්න ඕනේ මොකද්ද? Reactivity series and metal extraction දෙකම. Right? And we'll have the paper now and then you are going to mark it. Okay? Alright. 10 minutes දෙනවා හොඳට බලා ගන්න. these group 1 metals, they exist as their chlorides in C, right? Calcium as calcium carbonate, magnesium and magnesium carbonate, rough idea is enough. As far as you understand, they exist as a compound is important. And finally, if they are below carbon, you have to make them oxides and then react with carbon. ඒකට අතෙන් යන්න. ඔබ දැන මාරු කරනවා. ඔතන ඉන්න බෑ. මේ දැන චේන්ජ් කරනවා දැන් පේපර් එක දුන්නා. ඔයාලට තමයි දැන් යන්න බෑ. මේ දෙන්න යන්න ඕනේ. ඉස්සරහට. ඔව් එයි. ඒ කියන්නේ නේද දැන් විදිහට.
It's temporary. They don't really expect me to do something.
හරිනේ පුතේ. තව විනාඩි 3යි තියෙන්නේ.
It was on the table to get you. Especially you don't need to feel like you don't need to feel like it's a I don't know what that explains. I'm so bad because the reason it's not because the action partners so you don't need to do it exactly what I would do. I'm so
All right, your papers are put into WhatsApp. Online students, I want you to put the cameras on, right? Karan none that man deng me aim karno me meeting making. So you have two tests to do at a stretch. First one is reactivity series that will take around like 20 minutes, and the other one is also around 20 minutes. So I'll give you in total 40 minutes. If 40 minutes not enough, then I will extend according, right? But I don't think you need that much time. However, all right. So the papers are available in the WhatsApp. But may I pay no how the answer? I think I pay in direct, but the download.
Excuse me, sir. Sorry, sir.
Yeah,
Do we need to write the questions?
no need to write the question, right? Only the answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Write your name on both papers immediately.
I have three.
So you have three papers. You have one. For one time, we have the other, then it's not around. Patang mana? All right, your time is up. Let's go ahead with the answer discussion. And take red pens and mark it properly. It's very important that you mark honestly and get evaluate yourself correctly. All right. Question number one. Uranium is a metal that is between magnesium and zinc in the reactivity series. So they have said uranium. They have said uranium is in between magnesium and zinc. We need to know that zinc is less reactive than magnesium. Right. So the magnesium bubbles of gas produce very rapidly, and bubbles of gas produce slowly. That is when you react with dilute hydrochloric acid. So uranium, if it is in the middle, so you can say bubbles of gas, what you can say rapidly. You can say rapidly. So anything less than rapidly, fast, right? Moderately. Anything less than very rapidly, anything more than what? Slowly, right? And solid disappears very quickly. Solid disappears slowly. So you can say disappears fastly. Anything in between very quickly, and we'll see how the mark scheme gives the points. As produced rapidly, quickly. After the indication rate evaluation bubbles are between them. Solid disappears quickly. The word quickly is better. Fast cannot ready. Okay, use correct quickly can, right? And then name the compound that forms potassium reacts with water. Potassium hydroxide. Cold water. Cold water. It's always the metal hydroxide forms. Always the metal hydroxide form. Metal hydroxide form. Right? So that's in the potassium hydroxide. හරියට mark කරන්න ඕනේ. Right? රතුපෑනෙන් තමයි corrections කරන්නේ. Give the formula magnesium මෙන්න trap එක steam කියන්නේත් water තමයි. But when you react a metal with steam, you get metal oxide. You get metal oxide. Right? So here are the answers. And then zinc can be extracted by heating zinc oxide with carbon. Explain whether zinc or carbon is more reactive. In simple, carbon is more reactive, so that it can displace zinc, or it can remove oxygen from zinc. Metal extraction process of these are taken one. Masih mengenai yang mengenai segala tahu gawat apa dia deh itu demikian dong. Right, explain which element is acting as a reducing agent in this reaction. Again, it's carbon. Why? Carbon. Because carbon gains oxygen by reducing zinc oxide, right? Or it removes oxygen from zinc. What? It, it, it means what? Is oxidized. Or it oxidizes. Why? How did you write? What's the grammar point?
It's the one oxidized.
Oh, okay. The best thing to say it has gained oxygen. Or it has made the other one reduce, but it has gained oxygen. So oxidized. ඒක උත්තරේ මේ මම marks even on the read කරන්න. Yeah. They have given the money. Okay. Yeah, මොකක්ද ප්‍රශ්නේ? ඒකත් ස්කිල් එකක්. මේ මාක්ස් ස්කීම් එකක් දිහා බලලා ආන්සර් එකක් ඩිසයිඩ් කරලා ලියන්න පුළුවන් ස්කිල් එක. Right. All right. Let's see how many marks that you have got out of 7. Out of 7, here currently on my. Here. 7. All 7? Sure. Okay. Right. Next. Iron is a metal with many uses. One problem with using iron is that it rusts. The two substances needed for iron to rust is water and oxygen, right? Water and oxygen. And state the name of the main compound, iron 3 oxide, right? Hydrated iron 3 oxide is better, right? Hydrated iron 3 oxide is better. Or you hydrated iron 3 oxide. What's in it? What's in it? Number here? Huh? You know?
Yes.
We know. ඉන්න කලර් දාලා ඉන්නේ නවල පාරක් control කරාම නියමයි. All right. So galvanizing, oiling, painting, right? Galvanizing is usually for these buckets, right? Bicycle chains, car bodies, I guess. Painting, food cans. Huh? මොකක්ද තේරෙන්නේ? Oiling? Car engines, right? Bicycle chain. But at the end, I think you don't have like 100% this thing, but rough idea will be accepted. If you have written those answers in M1 and M2, you can't write that for the last one. Huh? What about food can painting? Food can normally අපි කරන්නේ food can හදන්නේ කෙලිම aluminium rather than right? Right. Explain how zinc coating protects iron from rusting. After scratched, so you have to say zinc is more reactive than iron, right? Therefore, it undergoes oxidation or it reacts with oxygen and water. मैं अनुपात से कोई नकाल नहीं किया था। ऐसा हुआ था कि मीटर में मैंने कहा नहीं अनिवार्य दिया ना अनुपात से। Zinc is more reactive than iron, so it can displace iron. So it reacts with oxygen and water on behalf of iron. It reacts in preference to iron instead of iron. So we are dealing with the reactive series questions right now. Then one out of 8 kills.
So without iron giving ions, zinc with ions.
Electrons, not ions.
Do I mark it?
No. Aparadhe. Kalabalunare. Without iron giving electrons, zinc gives electrons. So it gets oxidized. Right. Now we'll go to a main question. It was in the past paper too, isn't it? Right? Again, question. We watched the video also, like measuring temperature in order to find the reactivity of metals. The one with the more reactive metal give more temperature change, right? However, if it's the type of the metal should be kept constant. Therefore, rest of everything has to be, type of the metal should be changing. So rest of everything should be constant. Concentration of the solution, volume of the solution, surface area of the metal, and the amount of metal, basically the mass of metal, should be constant. Initial temperature constant. Ignore reference to the starting temperature. Right? Because measuring temperatures, right? Yeah. Type of ignore. Yeah, you are using the same cup for the experiment. Not a good answer. And thermometer, these are the values, right? 22.4, 17.7. It's the exact question we did in the class with. The student used copper sulfate solution. It's not the same question. Which of the metals gave the least reliable temperature rise? Explain your answer. Answer you should be able to write. Look at the data and tell. Huh? Yeah. Magnesium. Magnesium. Why do you decide magnesium? Because if you look at these values, they are so different, right? Methana difference here 5. Methana difference 1.5. But here the difference here is just 1. Difference here is 0.5. So they are closely related, these values. So you have 1 and here we have what? 0.5. Right? So explanation. So you have like the temperature values are very different from others. The largest difference in the temperature values.
So I don't, as there's a bigger gap when compared with.
Correct.
I said that's because for me.
Different?
Values.
Different. They all like different values. ඔක්කොමලගේ different values. ඔයාලගේ answer එක මොකක්ද? ඔයාලගේ answer එකේ තියෙන weakness එක මොකක්ද? Specific මදි. Information මදි ඔයාලගේ answer. Right. So identify the most reactive metal used. Explain how the results show it's the most reactive metal. Basically, it's a magnesium, isn't it? Right? Because it has the largest temperature difference. It has the largest temperature difference. Why is there no temperature rise in silver is added to copper sulfate? Because there is no reaction happening. And also, explanation have a come online right? Silver is less reactive than copper, right? So it can't displace copper. So why do results make it impossible to decide the metals? Which metal is the least reactive? You have two metals which have not done a chemical reaction, right? And then write chemical equations. It's two straightforward questions. So correct your answer, mark your answers. All right. So you put how many marks that you have got from the reactivity series? So ඒකේ කීයද total marks තියෙන්නේ බලන්න එක්කෙනෙක් participant. Okay, so let's find out. Let's find out the empirical formula. We would like to explain. So first of all, you write these elements: iron, titanium, and oxygen. 36.8, 31.6, 31.6. So you divide all of them by relative atomic mass. That's how you find the moles. Usually we divide it by the relative molecular mass. Have empirical formula we divide the relative atomic mass. Iron ki the relative atomic mass 56. Titanium 40, 48. Oxygen, 16. Right? And then you get the moles and then you find molar ratio. You are going to find the molar ratio. Right. One is to 1:3. അപ്പോൾ അനിതായെ കുറച്ച് ആവശ്യക്കാരിലേക്ക് തരാൻ ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾക്ക് you need to do it by your All right, what are the values you get here? Sorry, 0.66. 667. Right, make 0. Yeah,
It's also 0.6.
667. Make 0.18. The 1.9. 1.9. So you divide this by 0.667. 66 because it's recurring, right?
No.
On it?
0.656.
Sorry about it. So then it's 1:1:3. The empirical formula is FPTI O3. FPTI O3. So 1 mark for this and 1 mark for getting the simplest ratio and 1 mark for the 1 mark for the values and 1 mark for the simplest ratios. Because anyway they have given the formulas. Next one, explain which element has been oxidized in this reaction. Exact questions we saw over there, but it's in a different paper. Right, it's carbon because it has gained oxygen atoms. Gained oxygen atoms. Okay. In part C, write a chemical equation for the reaction between titanium chloride and magnesium. Right? So then how do you know it's titanium 4 chloride? Because they have given the formula. Samara answers DNA formula next time. Right? So then it's TiCl4 plus magnesium. Make it my Godakai mistakes. Magnesium chloride, MgCl2 plus titanium. Make a balance down of the method to 2 down. So I think most of you use both the marks because you are not using, like you are not applying the common sense that you would have used. Right? All right. Suggest why this reaction cannot be successfully carried out in atmospheric air. පුළුවන් නම් මේකට උත්තරේ දෙන්න බලන්න. කියන්න මම මොකද ඔය ආන්සර් කියන්න. Yes, it කියන්නේ කවුද? Magnesium. Why? It's molten magnesium, heated magnesium, right? You are say molten magnesium reacts with oxygen in air. Magnesium කොහොමද reactive? Reacts with oxygen in air. Suggest why the mixture is crushed into powder. Then the surface area is higher. That speeds up the chemical reaction. We increase the reaction by increasing the surface area. To increase the surface area, right? A surface area to increase the rate of reaction. Right?
Could you guys for the mixture put dissolve fast?
Dissolve faster. Yeah, that's correct. Dissolve faster is much better answer. Right? So aeroplanes are made of alloy containing aluminium and titanium. 3 marks, explain why alloy is stronger than pure titanium. Explain why කියලා තියෙනවානේ. Now, include diagrams in your answer. Include label diagrams කියන නැතිනම් එච්චර ලොකු issue එකක් නැහැ. So this is for pure metal. This is for pure metals. Right? Pure metals have same size metal cations. Right? And the alloys have metal cations with different size atoms. You need to either write it in words or drawing diagram and label them. Right? Alloy. So then in alloys, the cation layers cannot slide easily. So this is pure metal, and this is alloy. Cation layers cannot slide easily in the alloys. Cation layers cannot slide easily in the alloys.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I wrote in pure metals, the electrons easily slide over one another. However,
Not electrons, cations. Electrons are in between moving around the cations. Sorry? If you have set the different size atoms, you get the mark, right? But since you have mentioned the electrons, you lose the mark over there. මේවා lazy. අර lazy chemistry වල. Right? පොඩ්ඩක් study කරා නම් අපිට මතක හිටිනවා.
It is irregularly arranged. Alloys, but alloys contains different size atoms. It is irregularly arranged.
Accepted, yeah. Right. Again, titanium, you know the answers, right? Aircraft engines, that's because, let's say, aircraft engines use will use high strength to weight ratio, right? And hip joints are non-toxic for that. Propellers, you can use corrosion resistant. But you can't use the same thing twice, right? Right. The student was asked to compare the industrial process to extract aluminium. Name the ore used for hematite. Hematite. Aluminium is extracted from purified. What is the formula of aluminium oxide? Al2O3 because aluminium's valence is 3. One solid element is used to extract both metals, carbon. Right? Identify this element and state the purpose in extraction. Make carbon reduction. Carbon is used as the electrode. As the electrode. Electrode in electrolysis. අර මෙහෙම රොඩ් එක විදියට දාන්න එක කරන්ට් එක යවන්න. right ඒක අපි in detail වෙන lesson එකකදී ඉගෙන ගන්න. හරි? මේ මාක් එක ටිකක් අන්තයනේ by your side නේද? ඒකෙන්ද carbon එකට මාක් එකක් තියෙනවා. So let's say that question is out of 1 not 2. Right? හැබැයි carbon තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට 1 අනිත් එක නෑ. Right. What name is given for the reaction that involves reduction and oxidation? Easy. A1 ළමයි මොනවාද? Redox. Why does this equation represent reduction? Because gain of electrons. කවුද මෙතන electrons gain කරන්නේ? Aluminium 3 plus. Right? Gain of electrons. Identify the substance oxidized in this reaction. Carbon, reason it has gained oxygen. The බලන්නේ questions දීලා තියෙන විදිය දැන් electrolysis in detail අහලා නැහැ aluminium ගේ. එක එක අපි අහලා නැති process දීලා තියෙනවා. නේද? question එක something in the syllabus. Yeah.
So is it compound right there?
No need. You're trying to cut off some marks from you, bro. Right? Right. Both extraction occurs high temperature. Neither extraction use catalyst. State 2 reasons why cryolite is used for extraction. I got no need. So this is out of 7. Cryolite can it's out of 7. 11. And then paper දෙකේම total එක අරගෙන ඒ දෙකේම total එකෙන් percentage කරා. First one is out of how many marks? 29. මේකේ බලන්න කීයද කියලා total එක? Last is out of 7. Online students also send me your marks and send me a photo of the first page with the marks written properly of both papers. Mr. Total marks හරියට පෙන්නලා තමයි යන්නේ. හරිද? Marks mix ලියලා දෙකේ මේ total එක ලියලා. හැබැයි ඒක හරියට තමයි බලන්න. ඉලන දෙකක් ලොන්චර් කරන්න. ආනේ මම check කරලා දෙන්න. දැන් බලන්න. මට දැන් total එක ලියලා ඉවර වෙච්ච අය මට පෙන්නන්න. Then you can go. Online students have it sent to me. Yeah. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.